All right, everybody, how are we doing today? Steve Mingleco here. Going to be going over some great tips on how to create code that's clean, that works well, that's easy to maintain, that's easy to pass on to other people. Basically, so here are just a few effective tips in making sure that your code is the best code that you can write. First of all, minimize code. There's no reason in coding there's a lot of ways to do multiple different things for the same effect. So to do it as minimized as possible, writing the least amount of lines of code is going to always be the best way to do it. Now, the reason for that is it's a lot easier to maintain in that case. So when you're going back to look at it, it's easier to read 2 lines of code that do the same thing than it is to go back and try to do 10 lines of code. And that kind of goes into using the best standards. Now, there's a lot of tools and different guides out there that will show you, depending on which language, depending on which type of software you're writing, that will tell you what are the best standards for writing that code. Now, something like the web, you might see W3C. They do the web consortium that judges how things are done. You can run your website through there and see if you have broken code, things aren't working. There's also a lot of Google tools and things like that. Now, this is web programming. So in that case, whatever the best standards are, even like ES6 with JavaScript, all has different type of standards for best practices. This is where you get into, there's a lot of different ways to do the same thing. So making sure that you're using the best standards is always going to be important. And that goes into being consistent. Being consistent with your code. So if you're using one piece of code here and you actually needed the same function on another page, you should be using that same piece of code for that other page or that other application piece, because by changing things, you're going to find that it's harder to go back and update and find out what was done. And that also goes as far as passing a project on to another person or another team that's going to have to go in there and eventually work with the code. So having a consistency is really what helps develop some of the better code out there today. And then use comments. Comments are just quick little notes, basically in code that can explain in English or whatever your human language is, exactly what's being done. And a lot of times, again, that goes on to code that's going to be passed on to other people or code that's going to be worked on by other teams, because those comments then give you a lot of direction. And really those few things is just making sure that your code is maintained and it's clean, because there's going to be times that you're going to, if you continue to use the software, that you're going to need to go back and update and change and evolve, and even grow your website or your application or your software. And what really helps to do that is trying to maintain some of your code. So guys, I hope those tips helped. If you have any other questions about creating clean code, leave us a like or leave us a comment and we'll definitely get back to you. Otherwise, we appreciate checking out this video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care.